Hello everybody, John here. Still got camera issues and I'm probably going to have some for a while, which means I'm going to have to, use my the camera on my computer. So videos may be a little bit more slapdash than usual. I apologize for that. Another sad thing is that it doesn't seem, for whatever reason, it doesn't seem to allow me to include needle drops. I don't know if that's something to do with the computer or the settings or whatever. But there you go. So, what I'm just going to do is show show records and talk about them. And you just can't, I just can't play you little snippets of it. I'm not particularly articulate at the best of times. I always like to kind of, back up what I'm saying a little bit with, with the music I've been listening to. So I won't be able to do it this time. Anyway, the first record I'm going to show is this big train. I can't say that I've really been much of a fan of theirs. I've tried. I do remember a long time ago, their first sort of breakthrough record was an album called The Underfall Yard, and I got it, and I just didn't like it. It made me so miserable. There was a kind of a, I don't know, downbeat sense to it. It was just yeah, really not my thing, and it didn't really sort of make me feel good. Which at the end of the day, music is perhaps what we like. We like to feel good from the music we listen to. Well, that one didn't, and so I gave them a bit of a wide berth. And then they released some very popular albums shortly after that. English Electric and another one, and I listened into them. I bought them on CD, but yeah, they just didn't do much for me. And I've sort of, kept a bit of a distance from them. But then this came up. Now, cut a long story short, uh, their singer died. Was it last year? Fairly recently, in some sort of a traffic accident, I think. I've been trying to read up about that, but there's not an awful lot of details available. So whether it was some kind of a mysterious event or what, I just don't know. And so I thought, well, crikey, that's terrible. And so I started looking into them again. Um, Richard Scherblum, who's somebody that I've followed for a long time. He's played for the band now for the past 3 or 4 albums, and I've always felt that his talents are lost in this band because they seem so, I don't know, subtle the way this band sort of expresses itself. That I think that Rika Sjöblom, he sort of gets lost in the mix a little bit, which I think is a shame. Um, but well, there you go. It is what it is. However, yeah, since buying this, I must say that this has actually proven to be a really good album. And I don't say that just because, the singer died. I say that because I think for the first time, the penny has dropped for me with this band and particularly this album. So it does inspire me to go back and revisit some of their records and see if I can find what stands out really clearly for me in this record. I'd love to do a needle drop with this, but I can't. Too bad. Yeah, it's still in the shrink. It doesn't really need to be, does it? Perhaps I'll take the shrink off now. Yeah, take that nasty shrink off. But it's a great record. Um, Comes with a very nice, attractive lyrics sheets. Beautiful. And yeah, custom labels. There you go. Well worth checking out this album. They had another one come out that looked very similar looking cover to this before, and feeling compelled that maybe I should look into that and see if it matches up to this. There you go. Welcome to the planet. Now, next record is more of a classic, an old one that I've quite fancied getting for a while. I bought this just when I was at the beginning of the summer, roughly. So it's the live album by Man, Maximum Darkness. It's a cool cover, isn't it? I like this cover. It does seem to kind of say rock and roll, and yeah, Maximum Darkness I think is a quite an interesting name for an album. Oh, it's a Gatefold, sorry. It's quite a classic one. I think most prog people will be quite familiar with Man, possibly even familiar with this album. I've got one or two of their albums. There are people out there that are really fanatical about Man. I've still got them on the back burner. I'm sort of still trying to, dig under the surface and find my relationship with this band. Sounds a bit pretentious when I say that, but they're a band. They're Welsh, and so I'm not Welsh, but I live in Wales, and I feel, it would be quite a cool thing to have a lot better understanding of where they were coming from. And yeah, there you go. So this is the live album. Again, can't do needle drop. Love to. It is actually quite guitar driven. This. Can't really tell you more about it really, other than it's pretty cool. Next two albums. Now these are total classics. You've all seen these before. Again, yeah, these came through the door just a couple of weeks ago, so there's nothing unusual about these. It's just that I didn't have them on vinyl, and I've sort of given up looking for them on sort of new vinyl or old vinyl, sorry. And this album I'm going to show you now, I haven't actually heard until I got it home, and that is Lark's Tongues in Aspic by King Crimson. It's often regarded as one of their stronger records, isn't it? And I sort of purposely not got it, purposely not sort of listened to it on CD. Really, basically, sort of saving it until I got a good copy on vinyl and sort of could splurge with it and learn to enjoy it. I haven't really had it that long, so I can't say that I've done it yet. And honestly, finding time to have this, my living room space with the record and everything free of children and wives and stuff, it doesn't happen very often. But well, this is ready for when it does happen. But I'm really looking forward to this. I have spun it a couple of times, but you never really can judge a record, can you? The first couple of times, I can't anyway. I've got to live with it for a while before I really find out what's so great about it. And oh, there you go. So that's a cool thing to have. It's 200 gram reissue. Lyric sheets. I think they do a fairly good job of these, don't they? Record label, custom. And the next one is an album that I am familiar with because I've had it on CD for a while, but I just wanted to get the cover, and that is this one. A little bit of a disappointing gatefold, isn't it? There's not really much going on in there. They could have made much more of that space, I believe. But yeah, the outside is just gorgeous, isn't it? Like I said, I'm familiar with this record. I've had it on CD for a long time. I used to walk my dog in Sweden when I lived there, listening to this, and that's really where I kind of begun to listen to King Crimson in Sweden when I used to walk my dog and sort of listen to some of their albums as I did so. Next album is, well, this is another reissue. This is one that I got early on in the year. It's one that a lot of people will be familiar with. This is Darwin by Banco del Mutu's Corso. Italian progressive rock. It's a real classic, this one. I mean, getting an original of this, it's going to cost me more than I, would feel comfortable spending. And I can't say that I'm such a huge fan of this band. Fold, that I would, go out and spend a lot of money on an original. And this was relatively well priced. I got it off Amazon. I probably got it for less than £20. I'm not really sure, but cause I got it around about Christmas time, and I think, if I remember rightly, I got it with some money that my mum would have sent me. So it's like a little Christmas gift to myself. Here's the yeah, I'm still listening to this. A lot of people hold this in such high regard, and I think it is probably very, very good. But with my, obsession with Scandiprog that I had towards the end of last year and the beginning of this year, this sort of kind of fell by the wayside. So I kind of like the idea that one day I'll have this big Italian progressive rock lust, and these records will just sort of give me as much enjoyment and pleasure as the Scandinavian ones have been doing over the past few months. So when that day comes, I think I'll probably dive headfirst into this. And now we come towards the last two things that I'm going to show. Certainly not least, it's just that I've pulled these out, and I wanted to show them and at the same time say thank you. This is a VCLT from Pete on the West Coast. Pete tells me he was planning on giving these to me when we had sort of meant to meet in Cumbria, but since he had that injury, he wasn't able to meet up, so he sent them to me in the post, which is very kind of you, Pete. Thank you very much. This is Danish. I have a hard time saying this. Corso. I don't know how you pronounce that. And it's a double album. Sort of a compilation of their most early work, I think. I've been spinning this. This is really quite unusual. It's not the sort of thing that I would have necessarily picked up on my own. This is really quite different from the sort of thing that I listen to normally. It being Danish, Danes haven't really, at least in my experience, they haven't really sunk into this whole Scandiprog thing the way that other Nordic countries have. So they kind of keep their own, keep their own sort of prism, I suppose you could say, about them. It's a triple album. I think I have said it's a double album. It's actually a triple album. And the tracks are all very, So this is when it would be really good to give a needle drop or two, because I can't really explain. They're very instrumental. Um, I just can't find the words. I can't find the words to describe them. I'll have to sort of think a bit more and write. Perhaps it will come up here or something like that. But thanks very much, Pete. This was phenomenal. I mean, I opened this when I returned back from my trip, and it was like, oh wow, that's a really cool thing to kind of open up. That's very kind of you, Pete, to send that. Pete also sent me a CD in the package, and this is, a really unusual thing. This one, so it's a CD, um, and it's like an unusual. It's a bit of a super group, I suppose you might say. I'm not sure about the other two people, but Andy Tillson was in the Tangent, or he is sort of Mr. Tangent, I think you'd say is his band. And a lot of people have spoken about him. When I was fortunate enough to meet Rika Sjöblom from Beardfish, he spoke quite warmly about Andy and said that they'd toured together and that the band had learnt a lot from him. And with Andy Tilson, I've always felt I don't really like his voice very much, because he sounds like one of my old maths teachers, basically. And I can't stop hearing that when I listen to him sing. But fortunately, he doesn't really sing on this. He is obviously a very talented musician. So this is a concept album. And going back to this idea about the Italian progressive rock, I think if I've understood it right, the idea is it's a long lost, never released or published album made in the classic days of progressive rock by an Italian progressive rock band. And for whatever reason, in the concept, it didn't get published or released. And then it was slowly discovered by someone. So it's two albums, but basically the second one is the remix of the first. So the first, and this is where it gets complicated, the first part of the album is as it was found, made by these people on their analog equipment in the 70s. The second mix of the album is the sort of modern approach to the mix and the production of it, made by modern people. Yeah, I'm not doing a very good job of explaining it, but it is really good. I've been listening to this in the car, and it will go straight back in the car once I've shown it here. Yeah, there you go. Still got Pete's note here. There you go. I can't recommend this highly enough. I mean, it is so cool. It's a real sort of head scratcher of a concept, isn't it? It basically made an album that never existed under the guise that it was long lost, and then they've revisited that long lost album to make it sound like a much more modern, newer record album. So anyway, that's a really cool VCLT. Thank you very much, Pete. That's really kind of you to send that. I'd be interested to hear what you think about this and what you could say about it. I'm assuming that you've listened to this. I'm assuming that you've either decided that you really like it and that's why you wanted to sort of push it my way, perhaps. I don't know. But yeah, we can talk about that on the comments. All right, everybody. Sorry about the lack of needle drops and musical contributions. I'll see if I can sort that out sooner or later. But I'm going to end this here now and say thank you very much. Still got lots of records and albums to show. My next batch of prog records, I think I will wait until I can do needle drops, because I've got a few sort of important things that I want to kind of put across and show. I've also got a fair amount of jazz records and pop records and rock records too. So my next video may be of that genre. We'll see. All right, thank you very much, everybody. Check out my next video, and I'll see you there. Bye.